He feels a pain in his head, and when he steps on the ground, his foot seems to sink. He wonders if he is being swallowed by something, or worse, if he is already in a stomach. Something pulls him and suddenly he wakes up, realizing it was a dream, but it felt too real. He is confused, seeing a crowd in front of him that asks who they are. The boss says he has 2 minutes to appear at the central station, or he will be expelled from that place. His friends comment that he should go, or he'll be in trouble. The protagonist gets up. The boss looks disappointed. He was curious to see who had the courage to hide, but it seemed foolish. The protagonist stretches his neck and asks how. One of the guys is confused and asks who this lunatic is. But the boss says this is how it's fun, and orders the protagonist to look at him because he wants to see his true form, to see what's hidden behind that look. However, he doesn't seem to see anything and is confused. The guy asks the boss what's wrong and tells the protagonist to make the most of the 2 minutes. However, the boy just questions these 2 minutes and says that actually, 2 seconds are enough to finish everyone there. The guy falls to his knees, laughing, saying this kid is funny, pulls out a blade, and asks if those are his last words. The boss places his hand on the man's shoulder, and at that moment, the protagonist notices that the photo is not in his pocket. The man asks if he's looking for this. The protagonist warns that if there's a scratch on the photo, he will die. The man is startled, and the boss pulls it from his hand, warning that if the boy takes another step, he will tear it in half. Later, the protagonist is being kicked, and the man asks where his confidence went. The protagonist is hating himself for letting the most important thing disappear while he slept. It seems humans are indeed more dangerous than he imagined. The man asks the boss if the boy will be expelled. The boss responds no. When he looked into the boy's eyes, he was different from the rest. His soul was so deep he couldn't see anything. He mourns that they will keep an eye on the boy and always keep that photo under supervision. However, he tells his henchmen never to forget to always keep it in hand. Confused, the man asks the boss if they really have to do all this because of this kid. The boss just says it's an order and the man says he understands. Thinking back to the moment the boy stood up, he was somewhat scared, but now it doesn't matter. He turns to the boy and asks where his smile is. At that moment, Harrow appears. She asks what they're doing, and the boss says they found another one. Embarrassed, she asks if they were looking for her. The boss just tells her to go to the central station. As he leaves, the man says he hopes to see the protagonist again and will take good care of the photo. Everyone leaves and Harrow approaches the boy. She asks if he's okay, but he slaps her hand away. She asks why he did that and says she was just trying to help. He tells her he doesn't want help and orders the human to get out his way. She says her name isn't human, it's Harrow, and tells him to get it right. He just walks past and asks if he needs to remember something so insignificant. Later, they are side by side with Huang, who asks if there was any problem. Harrow says no, which is just that she tried to talk to someone who doesn't even know how to communicate. The protagonist thinks he would never hold a human's hand. He remembers clearly that his father warned him that when someone extends their hand, you can never trust it. Humans are enemies. He knows that the man has the photo and it would be easiest to snatch it from his hand by force. Even if he tore in half, it would still be easy to take it back together. It's just that he doesn't want to ruin it. It's the only item he has from that basement. The boss then says that everyone has arrived, so it's time to start. He announces that the auctions are to follow him or not. Those who follow him don't need to worry about being expelled at the man who is tied up. He explains that the man caused chaos in the subway, which is the only safe place they have, and that's why he was expelled. You're more forced to follow him, but those who do must understand that his word is absolute. At this, several people start to look at each other and walk towards him. The old man notices that many people are abandoning him, even the couple he helps. He knew that those with more strength always dominate the weak, especially in a world where the law has become obsolete. Clearly, the guy isn't going to force anyone, but seeing that other person expelled makes everything clear. Choosing the side of the boss is the best choice for living longer. However, the old man smiles, saying that he has lived a long time, so being unpredictable once in a while isn't such a bad thing. He knows that on the boss's side, he might not even be able to help patients, and they really need it. So he will stay here, even if he is alone, but the little girl is beside him. He asks if she is really going to stay with him, warning that it's better for her to go to the other side than stay with just the two of them. But the girl points out that they aren't alone there. There is the protagonist, the hooded guy, and a poor girl sleeping. Soon, they will be captured and tortured. Another black-haired girl says they will probably just starve to death or become monster food. She starts screaming in desperation while the old man watches, then another little girl bumps into him. A man tells her to be careful and apologizes to the old man. He says it's okay and tells her to listen to her father more. But the girl says something he doesn't understand, and when he gets closer, she headbutts him, saying that man isn't her father, and he is somewhere else looking for her. The class explains that she really isn't his child. He just found her while he was running away. Until he finds her parents, he is acting as her guardian. The protagonist tries to pass through the door and the guards tell him he can't. The boss orders that anyone who enters that room will be punished, but the only thing he wants to know is where that bastard with a photo is. The people gather to divide the food and said those on the other side could only take what was distributed. The girl who was sleeping complained, saying it was too little and the others had received more. The guy said it would be like that from now on because they just stay in that room doing nothing. However, the smell of the food reached a man lying down. He woke up and said that smell was very good. When they finished distributing, they asked about a certain person. The guy asked who, and they mentioned the boss's right-hand man, someone who seems very dangerous. Everyone there calls him the bomb because he doesn't obey the boss and always walks alone. Everyone knows he is the type to kill people with a smile on his face. The man feels cold sweat trickle down as someone runs down the corridor towards him. It's the little girl from before who bumps into him and says he did something wrong. He says it's dangerous for her to run around alone and now his clothes are all dirty. The men serving the rations point and warn that he's coming, already wondering if the next victim is the girl. As it gets closer, the men start sweating bullets. He calls for the man who asks what's wrong. He says it's nothing serious, just to give some food to that girl. The man is confused and says she already received her share. He then says to give her his portion, taking his food he hands it to her. The man is perplexed. Why did he give his food to the girl? Is this some kind of unknown psychological torture? Just then the bespectacled man comes running, pulls the girl behind him and tells her to stay there. He asks what the problem is and the mohawked man asks what their problem is. The man with glasses grabs the little girl and runs off. As she looks back, she sees the blonde man smiling back at her. The people in the room continue to be watched and the girls comment that it seems more and more people are keeping an eye on them. The protagonist, on the other hand, is wondering if you should just leave and look for that guy. He looks at Haru, remembers the slap and frowns. The woman seems to notice something, and at night when everyone is sleeping, the same woman from before gets up and sees the protagonist in the corner. She goes to touch him and he grabs her arm, asking what she was planning to do. The one is scared by the boy's strength and says she just wanted to talk. The protagonist seems not to believe her and she says she came because he doesn't seem to talk to anyone. He stares at her and says it's his problem if he doesn't talk to anyone. The one is confused and he slaps her hand away, telling her to stay away. She sits down and after a while asks why he is always distant from everyone. Maybe he's just a very shy boy. He says she's talking nonsense, it's just that he doesn't want to be close to enemies. She questions this and he says every human is always an enemy he can't trust. The one explains that she doesn't plan to hurt him and he says he doesn't believe her because she could be lying. She then says that's fine, she just wanted him to reconcile with the girl named Haru. He asks if she's talking about the yellow-haired human and says he never fought with her. The one then asks if he can get closer to her. The boy says that's another problem. To him she's a human no different from the others outside the room. The one says that the girl thinks she's hiding it but she cries every night. The one explains to the protagonist that there must be something Haru wants to say but she doesn't have the courage. Because they are the same age they might get along well. However, he responds